Section 19 of A Guidebook of Art, Architecture, and Historic Interests in Pennsylvania, edited by Margaretta Archambault. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Tatiana Chichilla. Fayette County. Organized September 26, 1783, named in honor of the Marquis de Lafayette, occupied prominent place in Indian, Revolutionary, and later wars. On Jacob's Creek, a mile and a half above the point where it empties into the Youghiogheny River, stands the ruins of the first furnace for the production of pig iron west of the Allegheny Mountains. The furnace was put into blast November 1790 and was known as the Alliance Iron Works, operated by William Trumbull and Peter Marmee of Philadelphia. It continued in blast until 1802, using the native ores from the neighboring hillsides and charcoal burned from the surrounding forests. In 1792, the company cast 400 6-pound shot for the Fort Pitt Arsenal at Pittsburgh. Coal mining and coke are now the chief industries. Connellsville coke is known throughout the industrial world. Aboriginal inhabitants were the Shawnee Indians, who made various earthworks and burial mounds along the Monongahela and the Youghiogheny rivers before their migration southward. It was part of the hunting grounds of the Iroquois Confederation. The Indian title was extinguished by treaty at Fort Stanwix, 1768. In 1749, Nemacolin, a Delaware Indian, guided Colonel Thomas Cresap from Wills Creek, Cumberland, Maryland, to the mouth of Dunlap's Creek, where Fort Bird was erected in 1759 on the site of Redstone Old Fort, an Indian earthwork, now Brownsville. This was called Nemacolin's Trail and was the best course for the Ohio Company to reach the Ohio River. It was followed by Washington, with Christopher Gist, to the French forts in 1753, the first actual step here in conflict with France. During the French and Indian War, Fayette County was the scene of some of the most thrilling events in American history. In 1745, Washington's expedition to gain possession of the Ohio Valley followed this trail to drive the French from the Forks, Pittsburgh. He advanced to Gist's plantation at Mount Braddock, then retreated to the Great Meadows, Fort Necessity, marked by tablet at Mount Washington, where he was defeated by the French under Monsieur Coulon de Villiers. Previous to this, Washington had met a detachment of French soldiers under Monsieur Coulon de Jumonville, in which Jumonville was killed, grave marked by tablet, first bloodshed in French and Indian War. In 1755, Major General Edward Braddock's expedition against Fort Duquesne followed Nemacolin's Trail to Mount Braddock, thence over Catawba Trail, which enters Fayette County at mouth of Dunker's Creek. Northward through Uniontown, crossing the Youghiogheny, Stewart's Crossing, at Connellsville, on through Mount Pleasant to Westmoreland County, Hunkers, Circleville, to McKeesport, crossing the Monongahela, then recrossing below at mouth of Turtle Creek. General Braddock, mortally wounded in the Battle of the Monongahela, was carried back over the road he had opened to a point on the Cumberland Road, National Pike, where he died and was buried. Washington read the Episcopal burial service over him. Grave marked by monument erected by officers of his old regiment, the Coldstream Guards of England. Braddock's Road became the main highway for settlers of southwest Pennsylvania and Kentucky. The entire course is full of historic interest, sites of encampments, blockhouses, and Indian forts. Some are marked. Uniontown, county seat, formed 1776. Population 15,692. Courthouse, Italian Renaissance, stone. Architects E. M. Butts and William Kaufman, Pittsburgh. Presbyterian Church has fine Tiffany windows. Mr. James Haddon, the historian of Fayette County, has a life-size bust of Washington cut by himself from the wood of a wild cherry tree, which grew within the lines of Fort Necessity in 1784. Washington owned the land on which the tree stood. 2 miles south is Fort Gaddis, only frontier or settlers' fort now known standing in Fayette County, marked by tablet in 1908. There were 16 such forts in this county, built of heavy logs, making durable houses for the frontiersmen and safe retreat for neighboring settlers. Connellsville, population 13,804. On grounds of the Carnegie Free Library is a bronze statue of Colonel William Crawford, pioneer and patriot, who, in 1765, built the first cabin home within limits of Connellsville, killed by Indians in 1782. Sculptor Charles S. Kilpatrick, tablet on base placed by Pennsylvania Historical Commission. Trinity Lutheran Church, Italian Renaissance, native white sandstone, trimmed with Indiana limestone, built 1911, contains copy of Bouguereau's Resurrection. In the tower is chime of 12 bells. Architect J. C. Fulton, Uniontown. Lafayette was entertained, in 1825, at Friendship Hill near New Geneva, the home of Albert Gallatin, Member of Congress, Minister Plenipotentiary from the United States to 2 courts of Europe, signer of the Treaty of Ghent, Secretary of the Treasury in Jefferson's and Madison's administrations. The house was built 1789, enlarged 1882, and with the estate of 700 acres is still of great beauty. Albert Gallatin's library remains just as he left it, on a high eminence, overlooking the Monongahela River. On the edge of a precipice 300 feet above the river, the view is said to be similar to that from Heidelberg Castle. The main entrance is near the old Morgantown Road, a historic highway. End of section 19.